but they've actually declined even a little bit more.
Well, I know you were going to ask a question about bankruptcy.
Yeah, yeah. Peter, bankruptcy has been big in the news as a muni bond risk in the last couple of years. How is that faring right now? Is there a lesser risk, or is there? Well, what's the perception there for muni bond bankruptcies?
Well, when it comes, first of all, Stockton has been in the news. That's what we've seen lately.
Yes.
And people definitely jump at that headline news, and that's it's the proverbial throwing away the baby with the bathwater. You really shouldn't jump when you see chatter about bankruptcy. We saw that actually with a very famous analyst, Meredith Whitney, came out a year and a half ago or so, talking about potentially multiple bankruptcies all across the nation. And that actually hasn't happened. But if you look at it, for instance, take Stockton. Stockton doesn't want to, they're not in a rush to go file bankruptcy, which, by the way, is Chapter 9. It's kind of an odd, it's not 7, 11, or 13. It's a municipal Chapter 9 filing. There's only been a few hundred in the history of the country.
Which we're going to get into the trivia on munis when we come back from break, because he's got a couple of interesting trivia questions that are kind of fun. So we're going to have to go to commercial break right now. When we come back, we're in the studio with Peter LaCour, who's an expert in municipal bonds, who's going to be feeding us all this great information. And here is our first trivia question, and it has to do, again, the theme is men who played women or vice versa in the movies, all right? Dustin Hoffman played a woman in this 1982 movie. What was the name of the movie? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Dustin Hoffman played a woman in this 1982 movie. What was the name of the movie?
Why am I thinking chocolate?
Chocolate? No.
It's related.
It's related, yeah, really. You're cheating. Okay. And call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and speak slowly and spell out each letter of your email address, and we will be right back.
Awesome.
Excellent.
No,
Okay.
That was perfect.
That's
a quick segment, and it went good. You were great,
Yep.
Pete.
See? Nice and simple, huh?
Piece of cake.
So we forgot to
That
get the
didn't feel
trivia.
like
He's got
2
some cool-
hours, did it? It went quick.
Oh, yeah. So
goes-
let's take off our heads off.
It goes so much faster than
Commercial
you
break
think it
he's
will.
got.
Yeah.
Got another little sticker here for you, my friend.
It's just like I'm supposed to do a 6-minute presentation at this conference call next Friday. So I write this whole thing out, and then I speak it. It's like 12 minutes long. It's like, I thought it was going to be like half.
Oh,
Things always take longer
You like that?
Yeah.
than you think.
I like when you rip it off, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll do. Okay, ready?
Pain. Yeah.
Ah! That's why I have a bald spot right here.
Yeah, you only rip off half.
I know. It always comes up like that. You need some filler time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Filler time.
No, seriously. He and I go back to kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know that?
wow. Now, where
You
was
haven't
this?
changed a bit either.
No.
You were big back then, too.
And where was this?
And I was invited out onto a yacht, and I looked over, and there was
Oh, how
this
exciting.
supermodel on the yacht next to me, and now I can't remember her name. She was hanging out.
Couldn't have been that super if you can't remember her name.
Oh, when I.
You remembered how she looked.
Yeah, that part you never forget.
All right.
You guys ready?
Hit it.
Let's hit it.
My love tech timer.
You know what that comes from?
Hit it.
Yeah. Where does it come from?
Isn't that Animal House?
Yes, very good. Otis Day and the Nights.
That's
Just
right.
let's hit it.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage, and Peter LaCour of Securities America. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this first trivia question. Dustin Hoffman played a woman in this 1982 movie. What was the name of the movie? People?
Tootsie.
Exactly. Very good. All right, Peter, we know that you had some great trivia about munis. Go ahead and share that with us.
Okay, I don't know if it's that great, but there are
Oh, it's
3
okay.
little nuggets here we can shoot out here. The first one is, what was the first municipal debt?
Anyone?
Oh.
That would be
See.
globally.
Oh, globally, let's see.
Ancient Greece?
Yeah,
That's close.
Tiberius.
Rome?
This was when,
Whoa, Rome,
Yeah.
Rome's
they
the
wanted to
winner.
build. They wanted to build the
Noah building the ark.
Yeah.
building a harbor.
Yeah.
Rome wanted a harbor.
The
They
first-
floated a bond. for
They-
it.
The first municipal debt was the Renaissance Italy, circa 1500 or so, where the Italian city-states borrowed money from the wealthy banking families.
So it wasn't Da Vinci wanting to build his first airplane.
I think it was to refurbish
Okay.
the Colosseum.
The refurbished the Colosseum. Okay, next trivia.
Next one was was the first U.S. Municipal bond on record, and that one.
Municipal bond.
It wasn't.
Wasn't the Revolutionary War bond.
I mean, you would think that would be it.
1812, New York City general obligation for a canal water project. So-
That was
It's actually
before.
not
That
that
was
long
before
ago.
the British attacked. I guess.
Yeah, for the War of 1812. Yes. Next
And then
trivia.
the last one is the first widespread municipal financing on a real major basis. I'll just go ahead and
Yeah,
say
sure.
this one was for the railroad systems all across the U.S.
That makes sense.
So that was a.
Okay. Now, you told me earlier, and these guys haven't heard it yet, the story about the bag lady. Share that with the audience.
Yeah, I had a funny story. A good friend of mine owned a bond brokerage, as a matter of fact, here in Larkspur. And he told the story about the bag lady who strolled in his office, an elderly woman. She was kind of disheveled and certainly quite odorous.
Odorous.
And so
She smelled.
she smelled, and she was staggered in and had this big, giant, Glad green bag, and it was full of something, and he was kind of curious of what that might be in there. So anyway, he rushed over. Can I help you? Information? What do you need? You need the restroom? Can I give you a lift? And she looked at him and said, "Yeah, you can give me a lift. You can lift this big bag over here on your desk." Where she plopped it out and emptied over $1 million of bearer bonds.
Oh my God.
And bearer bonds are.
Bearer bonds are securities with no identification. So if you're walking around with a bearer bond,
Just like
don't go in a
cash.
dark alley and
Yeah,
get
it's
mugged.
As good as
because
gold, right? Highly liquid.
It's ready to go.
Okay. And I know Robert wanted to ask a question about interest.
We're in an environment right now where there's very low inflation, and how does the rate of inflation affect the bonds?
Well, as far as low rates and when they do eventually go up, they're cyclical and they're going to go up. Or really, what you want to look at is how you can hedge against that, against rising rates in bond portfolios taking a hit. And the easiest way is just to shorten up on the maturities. You can ladder your bonds when you buy them so that constantly you have different blocks coming due and rolling over into the new higher interest rate environment. There's also plenty of ETFs nowadays. TBT is one that is short treasuries.
But hold on, Mark's got a question.
What's an ETF?
Exchange traded funds. They're actually
Almost like a mutual fund, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they're
okay.
very plentiful now. That it's becoming a much bigger market. They're not quite fully efficient, frankly. So you have to watch that. But if a person has a large bond portfolio, there's lots of different ways you could hedge it. Buy gold. So we'll see. And plus. Rates aren't going to go up overnight. We just had the Fed a couple of days ago said we're talking 2014 before rates possibly would rise. A couple of the fellows in said 2016.
Wow.
And even when the Fed meets 7 times a year, so even if they were to raise rates consecutively, you might be looking at 200 basis points, 2 percentage points higher.
Yeah, because they
that'd be
usually
3 or 4 years
quarter to
out.
half
So
a point, they don't do too much.
and who can predict anyway? Actually, I heard a quick joke. Actually, I heard this from Mitt Romney the other day.
Okay.
It was kind of interesting. He quoted Yogi Berra, and I'm a big baseball guy.
Yeah.
They were. He was talking about predictions, and Yogi said, "I hate making predictions, especially when it has to do with the future."
That's right. Exactly. Hey, do you have a favorite bond right now? Anyone you specifically like?
A good quality bond, ones that right in the 5 to 5.5% level that doesn't have delinquencies. I mean, you're looking at quality right now. It's the utmost thing. As we haven't got into the bond insurers, but the bond insurers have all pretty much gone down the tank. So when you're looking at a bond, you're looking at the underlying rating, which means the standalone rating, and that's what matters. So actually, there's so many bonds out there.
Well, I remember that with the insurance. It used to be that, we could tout that we had insurance for the bond, but now the insurance companies had problems, didn't they?
They had big problems. The insurance companies made all kinds of money just going about their vanilla business of insuring municipals. What happened was the other side of the business is their securities portfolio, and that typically insurers keep short-term money, T-bills, nice safe stuff. But to keep up with the Joneses or keep up with the Browns, for you, Edward, they started getting into, I kind of call it the crazy paper. They started getting into what turned out the subprime mortgage paper, and also kind of made a spicy stew. They added derivatives and credit default swaps, which I won't bore the audience with.
Mark, that's your favorite thing, credit default swaps. I order that for lunch every day.
It's spicy.
So anyway, these bond insurers who are making great money just insuring municipals straight on basically tanked their businesses on the side by getting into all this paper that blew up. This is basically the paper that was at the center of the whole meltdown that we just experienced.
Sure.
So these insurers that used to Standard & Poor's, which we'll save that for another day, the rating services, would rubber stamp them AAA. The insurers were either bankrupt or a lot of them are, say, B- rated or something. And when you're in the insurance business, you're as good as your rating. If you're in insurance business
sure.
and hey, I got a B rating over here, it's no good. So it's key right now. In fact, when you look at ratings on bonds, they'll have one column that kind of has the standard ratings that every bond people are used to looking at, and then on the other side now, it's called the underlying ratings, and that has to do on standalone strength of the municipal itself. So in a way, it's kind of good. It's kind of washed out any of the questions. So when you look at a bond, the underlying rating means exactly what's going on with the bond and what's its strength as far as paying its bills.
Yeah, rather than just looking at any old bond and just going, oh, well, that's okay, don't worry about it. You got a big insurance behind it.
Or the rating was done by a company that has their hands on both sides of it, so the rating might have been.
Well, that's a real interesting thing because the rating, Standard & Poor's and Moody's, and not, they're great people there, but these people were exactly the ones that rubber stamped AAA on all the crazy paper I just mentioned, all of the derivative nightmare paper that was out there. They said it was AAA. I remember 60 Minutes a couple years ago did a piece, and they were interviewing some mayor in Iceland or wherever it was, and she was, it was the U.S. mortgage paper, AAA, and
sure.
And
well, I remember years.
So these
ago,
rating services, you take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I remember talking to municipal bond brokers years ago who said that of all the bankruptcies that had happened with municipal bonds, 95% of those were AAA rated. I don't know if that's still the case now. So it's like, you can't just go with the old AAA.
There's
rating.
barely any AAA bonds now at all, which is really, really kind of fascinating. There's, Stanford University papers, AAA, but there's virtually none really.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
problem.
You guys hang around. We're going to go to email time. Before I forget, though, how do people get a hold of you if they have more questions about muni bonds?
Best way is just to call me at Peter LaCourt, Securities America, at 800-900-6033. That's toll free, 800-900-6033.
Okay. And last week we had a special trivia contest question that we said that we were going to ask today.
Indeed.
So, first of all, let me tell you, the special giveaway is going to be 2 nights at the Vichy Springs Resorts. And the Vichy Springs is the best of 2 worlds, a country inn and hot springs resort with 26 rooms and cottages that include their world-famous naturally warm and carbonated mineral baths, hot soaking pool, hold on, it's hard for me to read this and not just imagine being there, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and 700-acre private reserve for walking and exploring. Breakfast is included, as all resort activities. Vichy Springs is just 2 hours north of San Francisco and 1 hour north of Santa Rosa in the North Coast wine country. And here is that special trivia question. All right? Name the 2 days of the year where no major sporting events are going on. Here are the rules. No previous winners of prizes on our show are eligible, and you must email Edward at bestofinvesting.com the answer by midnight tonight, and the winner will be chosen next week from among the correct emails we receive. And we're going to cut to our second trivia question commercial break. In the movie Shakespeare in Love, she sometimes pretended to be a man. Who was this actress? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. In the movie Shakespeare in Love, she sometimes pretended to be a man. And who was this actress? Remember, the theme is men who played women or women who played men, vice versa. Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out each letter of your email. And we will be right back. Great.
Awesome.
Now, do you know those 2 dates?
I don't know.
February the 29th, 3 out of every 4 years.
Oh, they're for the Glow Wars.
And I was invited out onto a yacht, and I looked over, and there was
Oh, how
this
exciting.
supermodel on the yacht next to me, and now I can't remember her name. She was hanging out.
Couldn't have been that super if you can't remember her name.
Oh, you know, when I...
You remembered how she looked.
Yeah, that part you never forget. It's like when we had Kathy Ireland on, you know.
Right. How many minutes on this one are we going to go to?
Yeah, we'll go about 10, then we'll shorten up the other one.
All right.
You guys ready?
Hit it.
Let's hit it.
My low tech timer.
You know what that comes from?
Hit it.
Yeah.